you can feel it. You can feel when somebody really put their all into something. And I think that's part of what the indie filmmaking scene in Miami proves is like, we are doing it because we give a shit. What's up, y'all?
Noah.
How are you?
Cool. How are you?
Hi, Nicole. Nice to meet you. What's up,
Nice
Thomas?
to
Good to
meet
see you again.
you.
Yeah, glad to have you here, Noah. Thank you so much again for being so enthusiastic about this. I'm really happy to have you here and yeah, we have a great conversation.
Of course, yeah, I am ready to answer anything and everything. So open book. So let's do it. Yeah,
Open book, yes, perfect. So this will be just a conversation. I want to catch up with you on some topics that we've talked about before.
yeah,
I'm
of
sure
course.
Nicole will have some things to talk about as well. But also, if you want to ask us questions or if you want to mix up the conversation a bit, this is very much just kind of free form conversation, and we'll just go wherever it feels natural. Okay?
I mean, first and foremost, how are y'all doing? You
Yeah.
both doing okay today? You both enjoying yourselves today?
Yes, yes. How about you?
Yeah, so far so good. Cannot complain. Was excited to do this interview. Got some writing done, and I'm just happy to be here with both of you today. Yeah,
Yeah. So Noah, I should let you know. Nicole is currently in Australia.
Yes.
that is awesome. So you are, is it 5 a.m. in Australia right now?
It is 9 a.m.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was I was
That's
like,
fine.
wow, you are remarkably dedicated. I was like, wow.
If you had me this awake at 5 a.m., I'd be so impressed that
That's what
this
I was saying. I
happening
was like,
that
you don't even
early.
know me yet, and you're up at 5 a.m. Wow. No, but I'm happy that you are taking the time all the way over there to be a part of this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Same.
Nicole, do you want to talk a little bit about Australia? One thing, so I have this unfortunate stereotype in my head about Australia that really scares me about it, and that's like the spiders and the eight-legged creatures out there.
Mhm.
Tell me about your experience and if you've encountered one of these just yet.
I feel like I'm gonna jinx myself totally by
Oh
saying I
no.
haven't seen anything too scary yet. I did do a hike in the Blue Mountains here the other day with my friend. We saw a few bugs, a few like salamanders, snake, smaller spiders, like definitely a little bit bigger than I'm used to in Canada, but not too bad. And but I feel like I'm in like a student residence building, so I'm like 16 floors up. I feel like maybe the chances of me getting like a big spider is a little less. That's what I keep telling myself. But nothing too crazy yet, no.
Right. And of course, Noah, you are in Miami.
That's
Um,
correct.
do
That is
you, do you,
correct. Yeah.
do you guys have scary spiders down there too? I've been there
We
once, but
have a
yeah.
little bit of everything. I would say we are the American equivalent of Australia. Crazy people, crazy animals. Went to a park yesterday and saw my fair share of massive iguanas. We've got a ton of those. There are signs everywhere in the parks. Like, you know how there are signs in every park, I guess, that says like, please don't feed the wildlife. And you'll see like a picture of like a bird, or you'll see like a cute squirrel. No, on ours, it's like big, huge pictures of alligators, and they're like, do not feed the wildlife. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to be the wildlife's food. I'm not going to feed them anything. And also, since you're in Australia right now, I was back in last April or May. I was in a writer's retreat in Italy, and two of the writers who were there were both Australian. And they did tell me that spiders are legit there. Yeah. But they
Yeah.
said that, oh no, they were like, oh no, they're just friends. Like they don't want to attack you. But she said that they were like dinner plate sized. Like there are some massive
Did
things there.
did you see the look that both me and Nicole did at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Reaction to
We're all
this.
on the same page with
Right.
giant spiders. Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I see a spider that's the size of a dinner plate, I'm running and I'm never coming back into this
You never
room.
come. No, no, you burn the house down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
absolutely.
appropriate
There's
response.
zero question
Absolutely.
to that.
Yeah.
Well, up here in the Pacific Northwest, one of the reasons I can't leave is because we have nice outdoor animals. The spiders are usually really tiny. We don't have snakes or alligator. I mean, really like harmless snakes. No alligators. Nothing really scary up here. Just mountains, trees, and water, and that's how I prefer it.
Aren't
So,
you forgetting that you guys also have like bear?
oh yeah, we do have those. Yeah. Actually, interestingly enough, so I live in a neighborhood. It's not super remote, but it is kind of isolated. And every now and then someone will post in our neighborhood like Facebook chat about how like a cougar came through the neighborhood at some point. And they'll have like a ring, like the ring camera show like this, like massive cat just like walking across their driveway. So yeah, I guess I don't think about that. I just, I go for my night runs sometimes and every now and then when it's too quiet, I'm like, I guess that, cougars do happen around here. I should probably get back home.
Yeah.
So,
Sprinting.
yeah. Well, guys, I'm really excited to have this conversation. No, we have some catching up to do,
Yes.
and some talking to do. But you know what? I think I want to start with kind of a fun conversation because before I got on to this call, I was writing out my notes and listening to Wicked, the movie musical
Yeah, of course.
soundtrack, because that's just been like in my head ever since that movie came out. And Noah, I know you have history in the theater world. Can we just talk
Yes.
about how great Wicked is?
Yeah, I mean, crazy story also is I was recently up in Baltimore and one of my friends up there, her sister used to date John Chu
Oh,
Oh,
and they broke up uh like just before his first movie, and there are like hints about her throughout the entire movie. And so like only my friend knows that. Only like my friend and her sister know that. But there are like hints about her throughout the entire movie based on like things that they did in their relationship.
oh my
And
gosh. I'm
I
looking
just
up
think
what
that
his
that's
first
hilarious.
movie was. It goes back a little bit. Oh
that's like
man,
the best fifth degree of separation that you could have there.
Isn't that
There's,
wild? I
you're
found this
so
out literally like 2 months ago.
that's so funny. I need to know what this movie is, and I need to go and watch it. This is such an interesting component to like, being connected with someone.
I will try to remember. And those people are not film people at all.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
very funny to like no, and I'm gonna ask what the Easter eggs are so that I can try to catch them. But she did say they were like they watched the movie and they were like, "Oh, that's about you."
How
Yeah,
wild would that be? I guess that's the kind of power you have as a filmmaker. You can drop little Easter eggs in your movie, and it
for
don't have to be
one
explicit
specific
for
person.
one.
Yeah,
This is a message specifically to you that only you
yeah.
are going to get. You haven't done that yet, have you, Noah?
No, there are no
Oh.
subliminal messages for one individual in my films yet, but there is still hopefully a lot of time in future films for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember. So when we last talked, you were talking. We were talked about your movie Clocked, which had just come
Yes.
out and was doing the festival circuit. And I remember you were talking about how you have this passion for writing and writing scripts and screenplays. So like again, ample opportunity to just drop those little Easter eggs in, Noah, and
Hmm.
you don't
Yeah.
even have to like tell anyone. You can just send the script off and watch the movie and know exactly what's going on.
I think in all of like whenever people are writing anything really or trying to be creative, I think, people watching plays a major part in like creating characters. So it's like there are like certain people where like character traits or quirks are like based off of people, but I'm yet to just throw in like a if you look in the top right corner, there's gonna be like a little message and that's for you. But I think all characters are like little pieces of either yourself or people around you for sure. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm gonna have to remember that whenever I get into writing. I've been having more ambitions of that, like um as I try to as I do more like festivals and I of course talk with filmmakers and writers and everything. It's like, oh, I should do a script sometime. That would be
And
fun.
you're thinking script? Are you thinking short story? Are you thinking novel? Or are you thinking more of like screenplay format?
I'm
What's your
think
vibe?
You see, I'm thinking screenplay format just because that's what I'm exposed to a lot, with
Yeah.
movies, and that's just kind of the world that I live in. Um, yeah, so I'm thinking screenplay. Maybe maybe take a crack at a short film script sometime.
I'd be happy to look it over whenever you need to.
I have you in
Yeah,
mind, absolutely.
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 Nicole, are you a writer? Are you a What aspect of creativity like strikes your fancy the most?
Now in my last few years of university, definitely it's more like journalism oriented, so lots of like articles and film reviews and things like that. But I do love creative writing as well. When I was in high school over COVID, I wrote like a little short novel size like mystery story thing that I haven't touched since I was like 16, so I can't even imagine what that sounds like to read. But yeah, I do enjoy creative writing as well.
All right.
Nice.
So we have a novelist, a future screenwriter, and a current screenwriter all on the call. So that's pretty cool.
So much
Yeah.
potential here, guys. This I can just look I can see us looking back on this podcast in a couple of years once we actually like get like make something of what we're aspiring to right now and just being like, yeah, this is where it started right
This
here.
is it all began right here. Yeah.
So I just teased about talking about Wicked and we got sidetracked, which is great. I love conversation, but we should probably address Wicked before people who love Wicked drop out of the conversation. Because I was thinking about like movies that I really enjoyed last year, and Wicked is definitely just one of those movies that has really stuck with me. And I unfortunately have not seen the play yet. But now that
Same.
yeah, oh,
Same.
so we've all seen the movie and we've all loved the movie and they
Yes.
just need to get the
Yep.
play like more accessible, right?
That is very correct. It's much cheaper to go see it in theaters than it is to see it. I think I'd have to watch it probably like 10 or 12 times in the theaters to get one, Broadway experience. But yeah, I think they did a great job with casting. I think the musical numbers that they were able to, with all the choreography, and I mean, both of their voices are just phenomenal. It's hard to find legitimately great actresses with better voices. Um, I think the award is probably going to go to Ariana. I think it
Mm.
probably
Ooh,
is.
little awards talk,
Big
huh?
prediction.
I think it might. It's a stacked category, but
Hmm.
the hyper and it's crazy because she has been kind of at the top, like top three, top four in all the awards predictions since it came out, which is not very common,
Mm.
especially because that
Hmm.
movie came out pretty early into the festival prediction uh, sites, and
Hmm.
she's been one of the only like consistent faces in the top three ish for a while. So I think it might. I don't know.
Oh
Maybe.
man. Fingers crossed. Let's talk a little bit more about awards in a second. What I know about Toronto is that there's a pretty strong theater scene up there, right, Nicole?
There is, yes, yes, tons.
Do you find yourself at the theater much when you're back at home?
I have gone a few times in the last year or so. One of my good friends is really into theater. She grew up in theater a lot, so I've been going to shows with her. Wicked actually was playing in Toronto last summer, I believe, and I kept saying all summer, I was like, I have to see the play before the movie comes out, and I never did. But the
Hmm.
thought was there. But there is a ton of theater for sure, especially along. You've probably seen it, Thomas,
Hmm.
TIFF is all the big theaters
Hmm.
there. So yeah, tons to see in Toronto in that sense for sure.
I feel like I've missed so much opportunity in theater. I know there was one time, oh, I was at TIFF when Harry Potter and the Cursed Child was in town in
Yeah.
Toronto. And man, I wanted to go to that. But my husband literally would have murdered me and then divorced me if I went to see a Harry
In
Potter
that
production.
order.
In that order, yes. So, and I have to. He's a big fan of Harry Potter. He always has it on, and if I had gone to see a Harry Potter production without him, that would be the end of life for me. So I'll have to come back around to that. But also with Wicked, it was in Seattle when the movie came out. Literally, the movie's release date was in the middle of its Seattle stop, and I
Whoa.
remember thinking. I should get a ticket for that like a month or a month and a half ahead of time. I was like, I should get a ticket for that. They're still kind of reasonable. But my schedule was just really busy at that time, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get to Seattle, so the movie will be fine. And then I watched the movie and realized at that point tickets have now skyrocketed for the play and just kind of
That'll do
priced me
it.
out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing drives demand like the movie version coming out at the same time as the play being in town. So I am woefully inexperienced in theater, but I hope to change that at some point here in the near future.
No, I think theater is such a incredible art form. I think some of the best actors actually usually come from theater backgrounds when they make their debut in film. People are like, who the hell is this guy? And you look up and you're like, oh yeah, of course they trained in theater.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's such a impressive medium. The fact that, in film we have the ability to say cut, when someone messes up, a boom kind of like leans into frame. You have the ability to try it over and over again. And the fact that these actors are able to hit their blocking and sometimes sing and act simultaneously and dance, I mean, it is thoroughly, thoroughly impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I Nicole.
I was just gonna say, I totally agree. Absolutely. I think it's so special to see people live in that setting and to see, like you said, there's no ability to stop, start, go back, do it again, try again. So it's such an impressive medium, especially to watch.
Hmm. That's exactly what scares me about theater. There's no way I could do that. I would need cuts. I'd need retakes. I would need the secure. I'm still like having a hard time getting to like live podcasting. Like I don't know how I feel about that, but there's so much talent there, and it only makes sense that those careers progress into filmmaking, so um, so seamlessly. There are certainly different styles of storytelling and styles of talent, but that the commonalities I can imagine really allow artists to make that transition uh, more easily than you might think. So that's awesome. Noah, so I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about you and Clocked, because that was the last
Yeah.
time that we had, a an on the record conversation. And I was quite curious about because when we were talking, it was on the film festival circuit, you were promoting it and doing really good things with it. And now it's been a little bit of time. And I kind of want to look back on that with you and see kind of like how that experience went for you, and just kind of like recap that whole saga of promoting that movie and
Yeah, I
what you
mean
thought.
the promotion continues,
Yeah.
but I mean, Clocked was one of the best experiences I think I could have had as a debut filmmaker. For those who don't know, quick log line, it's about an 18-year-old Puerto Rican boxer from a conservative Catholic family in Miami who is secretly saving his winnings for the biggest fight of his life, which is self-acceptance and his desire to transition into a woman. Um, that was like a passion project that was written for people that I like to say are like in between families, which is like the family you're born into versus like the people who accept you for who you are. And that was something that was introduced to me through my experiences in the theater scene down here with the wonderful queer community that is in Florida. And a lot of them only found that community due to the fact that they weren't kind of accepted for who they were at home. So I'm very happy with how the film turned out. I think we played 12 festivals around the country. We're yet to play international. I'd love to have an international premiere at some point, but we've played at 12. We've won something at, no, we played 13. We've won something at 10. And we've been opening night for another one and closing night for another. So, I mean, it seems to really be impacting audiences in a very special way. And we are in the process right now of seeking distribution for it, so that we can hopefully bring it to the masses. Um, yeah, it was just a beautiful time. I still keep in touch with some of the cast members. Um, it was only an 18-day shoot, but technically 16 because we lost 2 days of footage from a camera error.
Oh
Um,
no, I didn't know about this. I don't think we talked about this
yeah,
in our last conversation.
yeah, we shot the first 2 days, and then on day three, when we walked onto set, our DIT walked up to me and the DP and was like, Hey, just wondering, were you guys, is this like a stylistic choice? Did you guys want the footage to look this blown out? We were like, what are you saying right now? And we look at the footage and it's the color of like your curtain.
Oh
Like
no, that's not how
l-
that's
l-
supposed to go.
like 2 days worth of footage. And there was a chip error in the camera. Like we sent it back to the camera house and they were like, we are so sorry. This is totally our fault. But to make it up to you, here is a red helium for free for the rest of your shoot, which is like a far more expensive camera than what we were able to afford. So I mean, lose 2 days, get a red helium. I was like, okay, like this, we'll make this work. Um, but yeah, we had a ton of those little, I guess they are like things that could have gone terribly wrong that ended up going for the better on that set. I think it was like a production that was blessed by the film gods or whatever it may be. But there were a lot of things that could have derailed an indie production because with indie shoots, you don't really have an opportunity to, say, okay, guys, I guess that's a wrap for today, but we'll do this again like in 2 weeks. We'll get everyone back. We'll reshoot this day. Like there's no, you don't have time for that. Whatever happens on the day, you got to roll with the punches. And so we had multiple things that occurred where we were like, are like, will we be able to finish this? And everything happened for the better, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
And yeah, we've played in 13 cities. And there's something that tends to happen this has happened at 4 or 5 festivals already, where we expected the film to impact queer Latino teens more than anyone else, because that's who the main character is. And you're like, okay, they're going to understand the struggle, at least partially. But we've recognized that the people who seem to be impacted most by it are older white people who've like isolated or excommunicated like either like their own kid or their grandkid, and they like just came to see a movie at a festival and they were like, I haven't spoken to my kid in like a year or 2 years because I didn't understand them. And after seeing your film, I think I understand their struggle a little bit better, and I think I need to go call my kid. And just to be able to have that impact on, one family is incredible. And, my job is done if that's all it impacts. But I think the reason we are so striving for distribution at this point is because we think it can do that too for plenty more families.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Nicole, what are your impressions about this film? Of course, I've had this conversation with Noah, and I love hearing these stories and how much impact this movie has had on people. But like, what's your impression? How do you feel about this production?
It was funny. I was going to ask, actually, we talk a lot about film festivals. Last episode, Thomas and I talked about how special it is to be in the audience at film festivals and to have that experience as a viewer. And it's not like just going to a movie theater on a regular day. And on the flip side, I wanted to see what the most rewarding part of this experience has been sharing Clocked with a film festival audience for you. But I feel like that answer was pretty clear cut there. And hearing stories like that, I'd imagine that is a pretty special part of that job.
Yeah, and then we also played at a festival called Atlanta Underground, and there was an employee there who was trans. And after the film, they just asked if they could give me a hug, and like we hugged, and then they said like this opened up so many old wounds for them in very healing ways and felt very like a therapeutic experience for them. So I think that, and then obviously the older people who were, trying to call their kids afterwards was just really means a lot. And then just also the impact that it's had on our lead actor. I mean, our lead actor, Jermaine, is a fantastic talent. And when they signed on to the film during their second audition with us, they just came out to their loved ones as non-binary. And so all of their emotions that they're experiencing throughout the production, all the emotional scenes is really them doing that. I don't think even if it was the exact same actor, but like a year earlier, that we would have gotten even a remotely similar performance. And to have them, still in their like more masculine energy during the shoot, and then seeing them go to all these festivals in like dresses and heels and looking stunning and feeling more comfortable being the person that they see themselves as, I think it's really hard to top that as a rewarding factor of this film.
I hear
Yeah.
you talking a lot about the audience's reaction to this movie, which is awesome that you're having such that this movie has such an impact on audiences and people who are coming to see a movie. The space that Nicole and I come from is a journalistic space, the side of the journalists asking, the red carpet coverage, the interviews, and things like that.
Mhm.
And so I'm always interested in learning how to be a better journalist. Can you tell me like your experience with journalists in promoting this movie?
Yeah. So I would say from a journalistic perspective, I know you have to ask, the very basic questions like what inspired you and like all this stuff. But those are questions that we hear all the time. We probably have a canned answer for it. So if you want, you know, information that only ForReel gets or things of that nature, I think one of the greatest things you can do is truly watch the movie and talk about like things that impacted you in the movie. Like this scene really impacted me because of this. What does that scene mean to you, or what is a scene that had a similar impact on you? Like what scene made you feel a certain way? I think a lot of reviewers, or not reviewers when they like write up the full review, but like on the scene, like when they're asking questions at the festival itself, will ask all the generic questions or make a comment and not ask a question.
I hear that in
That's
Q&As all the
that
time.
happens all the time. It's not really a question. It's more of a comment than a question, but yeah. Um, that is a very common one. But I do think it all stems from wanting to understand something about the film on a deeper level. I think that's how you can kind of get the answers that you want that are specific to your site,
Mhm.
would be to talk about things that impacted you guys
Y-
and ask questions centered around that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nicole, have you run into this? So something that I have decided personally is that I'm going to stop taking interviews that I don't have a screener for, that I have not seen the movie for.
Oh,
I've
please.
tried to capitalize on like, okay, this is an opportunity, let's go into it and try to get what I can out of it. But this happened to me at Sundance, where I did an interview with the cinematographer for a film. It was called Come See Me in the Good Light. It's a wonderful documentary, or at least a beautifully shot documentary about Andrea, I'm spacing on her last name, but a spoken word poet who is dealing with cancer, and a terminal illness. And I took the interview because I wanted to have a conversation about this film. I felt like it was going to be important, but they couldn't get me a screener. And it was a good conversation. I enjoyed talking with the cinematographer, but then I saw the movie and I was like, oh my gosh, I have like 1,000 new questions that I could be asking.
That's it. Yep.
Nicole, have you run into this? Have you like had this issue or this struggle before?
Absolutely. Like specifically what you said, red carpets at film festivals, it's so hard because most of the time they haven't given screeners out yet, or that's like the first showing at the festival, so you haven't had a chance to go see it yet. And they are by far my least favorite interviews to do because I feel so horrible most of the time that I haven't had a chance to see the movie, and I feel like the questions I'm asking are just so impersonable. Like they're just not to the depth that they could be if you obviously have seen the movie or know what it's about. So definitely those are on the bottom of my list for
Hmm.
interviews that I enjoy to do because it just feels so like you're just reaching for anything you can grab that is not necessarily where you want it to be.
But in
Yeah.
those situations, you also only have the opportunity to ask like two questions.
Oh,
Like it's
don't get
not,
me started.
you
Yeah.
only, so like you got to pick two of your best generic questions that you could possibly ask. Wow. And then they just move along. So, I mean, I understand like the stress of red carpet interviews. I think that that is probably a frightening job for journalists because like you get the answers you get, and sometimes you get half an answer. Like you don't even get like a full answer, and that's what you have to run with. But I think something that could help avoid like the even at that setting is at least go in, reading like log lines or like a brief synopsis and kind of just pull from that, like, hey, I know that this is about like you and your sister who, and like dealing with her finding out that she's adopted or whatever, like that.
Hmm.
Like, was this inspired directly by like your experience or your friends or like what symbolism in the film, relates to the adoption process, but isn't directly about adoption, whatever, like things like
Hmm.
that. I think even some interviewers or critics or reviewers, when they're in that space, they just go to that first, like, immediate, like, canned, generic question. And I just think on your behalf, like, you guys aren't getting the answers you want by asking those questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another example that I had from Sundance. There's a movie that premiered there called Omaha, starring John Magaro, and this was a big opportunity for me. I love John Magaro, especially with his
He's
his
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, right? Especially after watching Past Lives, like fantastic performer, and he's great in Omaha as well. But I read the log line, and it talks about how it says these siblings are unexpectedly awoken by their dad and taken on a journey across the country, experiencing the world. Like the world like they've never seen before. But they start realizing things aren't what they seem. So I took that log line. That's really all I know. There's one still shot of them in a car, and so I go to the red carpet, and they're telling me about the story, but I end the interviews with, so tell me about your favorite road trip films, right? The road trip films are typically fun, and there's a little
That's not
drama.
bad.
It's not a bad question until you
That
watch the
wasn't bad.
movie and you realize like exactly what's happening with this road trip. And then I realized, wow, that was too happy of a question to
I have an
ask.
idea of what it's about just off of like that still image I saw, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, yeah. But
Right. Yes. So
I have an idea.
whenever it comes out, I mean, it's a beautifully filmed movie. But yeah, there are times when I'll watch the movie after doing a red carpet interview and be like, oh, okay, that
Maybe
wasn't the greatest question to ask here.
hindsight's 2020, man. You can't beat yourself up for that. They didn't get you a screener. That's on them. That's
Exactly.
on
This
them.
isn't my fault, right?
That's on them. Yeah. I
It's
made
like,
sure to give you a screener before we talked.
You did, and I was going to say, like, this is why I really love being able to talk with, independent filmmakers because they want people to see their movie. They want
God,
people
please.
to,
Yes.
do the reason, like, connect with it and ask the right questions. And yeah, anyway, I'm getting hyped about this. Nicole, I think you had something to say.
no, I was just gonna say, I wish sometimes there was instances you could just like rewind a little bit. Like, let's just go back a few hours until do that again.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. So yeah, that's it's very interesting. The more that I do this, so I go to Sundance, and I have the Vancouver Film Festival and Seattle Film Festival here, who are really great to work with, and then of course Toronto, which Nicole also covers as well. And yes, it's we try to get those higher profile interviews and those higher profile opportunities, which is great. But man, I have the most fun with these kind of conversations and with indie filmmakers, and just their enthusiasm for wanting to talk about their movie, and have people see it and get it out there.
Yeah. And for some reason, over the past couple months, I've just been like reaching out to as many critics on I think they call it Filmstagram. Um,
Oh,
just reaching,
yes.
you know, and they have some beautifully curated pages, and I look at their stuff all the time. And I've been reaching out to tons of people in that community, just being like, hey, like, would you mind taking a chance on like watching this, independent film? And a lot of them have been very open to it. And we've been getting like a lot of very, very positive reviews from that community. And it's built up some interest in the film. We don't have, thousands of logs or even hundreds of logs on Letterboxd, but, I hit the 50 mark and I felt like celebrating. And these reviews mean a lot. I mean, I know distributors look at them. I know some people look at Letterboxd before they see a movie to see if it's even worth watching. And
Mm.
luckily, the reviews that we've received so far have shown that it's a worthwhile watch for people, hopefully.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is totally.
Yeah.
Speaking about community a bit there, talking about, I'd love to talk a bit about fifth leg table reads, because Thomas was sharing all this great stuff that you were doing with your
Oh
new
my
company.
gosh.
So,
Yeah.
congratulations on getting it off the ground. First of all, I think this is so incredible. I had a chance to watch the video Thomas sent me of one of the table reads, and I think
Yeah,
it's
he
just
was great in it.
it's such a cool opportunity that you're doing there. So what for you, what was kind of the ramping point when you were realizing that actors and writers kind of had this like there was a disconnect between getting opportunities and breaking into the industry and needing to practice their craft and bounce ideas off each other? Where did that all pick up for you?
Yeah, I mean, this industry is hard. Like, it is a hard industry. The people who tend to make it, it is definitely like a war of attrition. But a lot of the people who are so talented come from spaces that don't have, a thriving film community, or like incredible acting schools that they can just go to, or wonderful film festivals that they can, intern at or whatever in their communities. And I recognize that a lot of competitions were using table reads as like part of their grand prize, where it was like, if you win the screenwriting competition, we'll get actors together and do like a live table read of your thing. And I was like, why is that a grand prize? Like, shouldn't people just have access to that because it's like very important? Because writing is so isolating. You're alone most of the time when you're writing, unless you have like a great writing partner. But writing's so isolating, and a lot of the times you end up, a lot of writers, luckily I've figured out how to avoid this, but a lot of writers write all their characters in their own voice, like in the writer's voice. So all the characters sound the same. But in the writer's head, they're all different, right? So until you get actors to read it and you realize, like, oh, this is off, or this is not what I intended, it's very hard for a writer to correct their own things. Um, so I wanted to give an opportunity just for writers and actors of both the screen and stage, because this is also important for plays as well. Um, the opportunity to come together, whether from coast to coast, so whether you're in Seattle or you're in Melbourne or you're, in Oklahoma City, wherever you are, that you can polish your craft amongst people who do live in film hubs like LA or New York, right? You're all just going to be in the same virtual read. We also like, and as a writer, I know that writers are so scared of like, someone's going to steal this idea, someone's going to take this from me. It rarely happens. I know that people are scared of it, but like, relax. It doesn't happen. So, but to appease those writers, we've made it so that on the website, we never actually host your script on the site. So no one can take it from you. All you provide as a writer is a log line, a page count, character descriptions, and whether or not you're open to it having open casting, which just means first come, first serve. Anybody can play those roles if they choose them. And then your script is only shown during the read itself, right? So everyone's doing a cold read of your play or your script. So that appeases the writers. And then I know, the starving artist trope is only a trope because it's true. Um, we're all poor and hungry. So please, please, someone start a fund for us. But I wanted to make sure that the price point was reasonable as well. So for writers, they pay per script submitted, but actors pay $10 a month to be to be on the roster so that they can register for as many reads as appear on the site. There is no limit for you to apply to as many reads as you want. And the reads that we've done so far have been really fun and um, have been very engaging afterwards, because part of the thing that I think is important is a lot of times people will do table reads as part of like a competition format, and they'll do the read and they'll be like, thank you everybody for coming, that was the read. But you don't get feedback for your thing. So part of the fifth leg table read, like part of it is feedback is required from both the writer and the actors once the read is finished. About 15 minutes is taken to like have them talk. And in our last read, literally you guys went like for 30 minutes talking
Mhm.
about that short, and that script was only like 14 pages, and they had like 30 minutes worth of conversation after the read. And we just got our first full length play, 116 pages on the website. So we're excited to host that one in a read this month. But yeah, I just want to invite people into the space. Like we need the community. Actors need polishing on their skills in between auditions. Writers need, clean drafts for when they submit to agencies or when they submit to these competitions where this is a grand prize. Um, and so as many people as can join this as possible. I mean, I'm hoping that, thousands of people end up using this website for their benefit. And I just want to help these people as much as possible. The site is literally 5thleg.com. It is not difficult to remember. And I do have discount codes available. So just
Yeah.
like let me know. And I'm so happy to just hook people up and build this community because community is what's necessary in this industry.
Yes, as a participant, I can give a testimonial to this. It is actually it is a lot of fun, and I love how well thought out this is. Like making sure that you're keeping the security of the writer in mind, making sure that you have feedback at the end, and that community aspect, and also the people here are so talented. Let me tell you how nervous I get on a cold read. Like I don't know when my line's coming up. I don't know when it's happening, but the people that participate with this are so like talented and professional that they just pick it up and just like really give this their all and are just super invested into like making it the best that they can even as a cold read. And it's so much fun. These scripts are so creative and just the coolest experience, really. I highly recommend it. Yeah, this is a really really cool idea, Noah. And when you told me about it, like I could already tell like how impactful this kind of idea could be. The potential here is incredible.
I really appreciate that. And Nicole, I mean, if you ever want to jump into a cold read, you just let me know and we'll get you in there. You are a budding novelist and journalist, but there might be an actress in there somewhere. Yeah.
Hmm.
I definitely am not sure about my acting skills, but I would love to try that out. That would be really cool. But I actually want to ask both of you a question. With it being a cold read, and as someone who hasn't done a table read like this ever before, does it allow you to have more creative freedom with who your character is becoming throughout the read, as it's the first time you're seeing the script, as everyone's bouncing off of each other? How does that help you kind of establish for yourself that tone that you're bringing to this character that you're now learning about?
Yeah, I'll just really quickly, I'll explain kind of my observations. I think that there's some direction given in the scripts, but also one of the reasons that we do this is to see how other people inherently interpret these characters. And so if an actor picks up a character and is doing it in a certain way, like naturally either that aligns with what the writer was intending or it doesn't, and the writer is now informed about how they can give better direction on like who this character is and how they behave and things like that. So like that's been my observation. And I think the last read that we did was a really great example of like, hey, this is how I portrayed the character. I wasn't sure on this part and this part, and it was really great feedback for the writer.
I could not have said it better myself. I don't even know if I have much to add on to that. I think it's literally a space on a cold read. It's like it is being read how it's interpreted off of the page. You don't have the audition process. You don't have time to build up the character. It's like what is there is what will be performed. And it's remarkably informing to writers because we also don't put them in the people who are in the read in contact before the read. So there's no way for them to like share notes or do anything like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's what you're doing with that.
it's a really really cool thing. But since we're still on the subject of community, I think I want to touch base about the filmmaking scene in Miami. Um, it's
Yes.
it's interesting because in going to these film festivals, like particularly with Sundance, We're looking at how the film industry is expanding. LA is still kind of the hub for filmmaking, but we're seeing filmmaking hubs starting to pop up everywhere. Atlanta is becoming a big hub. Of course, we have Vancouver, that's near me, but Miami is a hub now. Tell me more about what the filmmaking scene is looking like down there.
Yeah, I mean, so there are so many talented people down here in the film community. I will shout a couple of them out at some point. But for a while, we were the hub before Atlanta. And then we had a senator who took away all of our film incentives and put them towards the sugar industry because they had stock in sugar. And then all of our talented crew people, well, a majority of them made this exodus over to Atlanta, and that's how Atlanta became Atlanta.
This is so interesting. I
Um,
didn't know this history.
Yeah, and that's how Atlanta became Atlanta. And then we were, we still had like some reality shows and we were a hub for music videos and commercials, but film was kind of at a low point. And then over the past, I'd say, I mean, even when Moonlight was made, like Miami was not a film hub again.
Mm.
And so there are the amount of filmmakers who grew up in this place. I mean, there's no place in the United States that can replicate like Miami in itself is a character. Regardless of what your film's about, if you shoot here and there are exteriors and you're in different locations in Miami, the city is a character. And I mean, we have some remarkably talented filmmakers here, and the festivals that are in Florida are really top tier. I've worked for three of them. I've worked at three of them, and I've played at one of them, really like a really good one in Key West. The team there is really great. They really ask really crucial questions. Shout out to Chad, who is their film commissioner, and to both Mikes who help run the fest. They know who they are. Um, the Miami Film Festival is obviously huge. I've been a moderator for them. Um, I've been a screener for them multiple years. Then we have short festivals like Subtropic in West Palm that's trying to help, create the next generation of filmmakers by showcasing, local shorts. We had my good friend Monica Sorrell and her producing partner Robert Colomb are good friends of mine. They were nominated for two Independent Spirit Awards with a film that's shot in the same neighborhood as Clocked. Their film Mountains is was doing
Oh,
yeah, their film Mountains did great on festival circuit. They recently got distribution. I'm so proud of them. We have another filmmaker named Edson Jean, who's a super talented filmmaker who's had his films play at some of the major fests. His next film is premiering at Slam Dance, and that was
nice.
by a local crew down here called WEG. They helped produce that film. I mean, the amount of films that are coming out of this space are diverse and important stories, and it's a shame that with all this talent here, the funding for it is non-existent. For instance, our DeSantis pulled all the arts funding from the state for all of 2025. For the first time in Florida history, there are $0 going towards the arts that was already approved.
That is insane.
So the arts budget this year is $0. And that's for art house theaters. That is for government approved grants for any form of arts program. That's any funding that was going towards festivals. All of that was pulled.
This is so
Uh,
unfortunate. I think about Washington State's status in the filmmaking space, and it's kind of tough because we have Vancouver so close, and Oregon is just like is also becoming like this hub for indie filmmaking. And I see kind of the lack of filmmaking happening here in Washington State, and I get a little discouraged by that. But then I hear about Miami and Florida and like how deprived you guys are of the ability to really support this, the indie filmmaking scene. It's really unfortunate.
yeah, but through the cracks in the concrete, the flower will grow. And that is what's happening with, like I mentioned a couple of the filmmakers here, but like the festivals, they really want like to highlight local filmmakers. We're really trying to, thrive in conditions that are less than favorable towards us. And I think it also makes the stories that we tell more impactful because people can see. It's almost like when like someone's grandma makes food for you and you're like, what's the secret ingredient? And they're like, oh, it's just love, baby, And it's just like, I do think that that is something that, even as critics or as journalists, you guys can see when something was made, with blood, sweat, and tears, with heart, versus if it was made because someone wrote someone a $2 million check and was just like, here you go, like, go make your movie or whatever, millions of dollars they got for it.
Mm.
I just think it's a, you can feel it. You can feel when somebody really put their all into something. And I think that's part of what the indie filmmaking scene in Miami proves is like, we are doing it because we give a shit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which, which is great. I mean, that's such an important. You're right. You can really feel when there's love and consideration and like passion for a project, and when it's just, a money grab or just a project that a studio is funding, and it's yeah, it's very apparent. And I think the more that I do film criticism, the more apparent it becomes. And that's why I really do my best to support the indie filmmaking scene and indie filmmakers, and um try to get more exposure to that and to this situation with Florida so that someone can do something about that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were just saying reminded me. I was reading your interview with Haley from Jupiter Stargirl, and you were talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
in
She's great. Yeah. She was one of those Filmstagram people that took a chance on watching the movie. And yeah, she's been really, really cool.
yeah, it was a great interview. And at one point, you were just speaking about like the importance of collaboration and sticking together with other people in the filmmaking industry. And I think that really rings true for what you were just saying and having, to be surrounded by people who have this passion and love for film. And it is so apparent when projects are released, like Clocked and so many other indie films, that you can just tell how much love and support is behind all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're wishing you the best of luck going forward. Are you working on any films right now? I know you have Fifth Leg Table Reads. That's kind of your big project right now. Is there anything else that you have kind of in development?
I mean, yeah. So I've written 11 features and I'm writing my 12th right now.
I feel like every
Um,
time we talk, you're on a new
I'm on a
feature
new
that you're
feature. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying. My brain is it's a mess up there. Um, but no, I recently polished a horror script of mine that I would say is like a cross between Animal House and The Hills Have Eyes. And then I changed up the ending of a script of mine that is a conspiracy thriller that takes place almost 100% in a bowling alley. And right
What?
now and now I'm writing a dark, dark comedy about a serial killer in the Chicago area in the 1980s. It is fictional. Who loves hearing about his kills on the news because like they still haven't caught him and they don't have any like leads on who he is. And then one day he's listening to the news and he hears the sheriff say like, we believe we have found the seventh victim of the so and so killer. And he was like, wait a minute, I didn't do that one. He's like, that one wasn't
Mm.
me. And he's like, who's this person who's trying to like feed off of my reputation, like give my reputation a bad name because that kill was like very sloppy. And he's like, that was not me. It's like, I do not want credit for that one. And so he's like, it's about him like trying to figure out who this person is that's tarnishing his reputation.
I want
Yeah.
all of these to be I want all of these to be movies.
I was going to say, as a huge horror fan, this just makes me very happy to hear all these ideas that you have.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm stoked to be able to write them. I've submitted um, a few of them into fellowships. I've luckily gotten into a couple with the bowling alley one, and then with the drama I have that's like if Sing Sing met Chef. That one was the script I got into the Italy fellowship with, and they were great. They're called Nostos. They were wonderful to me. But yeah, my portfolio is quite varied, as you can tell, and I'd be honored to have the opportunity to turn any of those into the next project of mine, truly.
I want all of them to be your next project. I just need to see all of these movies. Of course, we'll be in touch with you as you continue developing these, and I know this won't be the last time we'll have you on the record, but it's always great catching up with you, Noah. I
It
really,
is such a pleasure to be here with the ForReel team. I mean, you guys are great.
thank
Thank
you.
you for being someone who helped take a chance on watching Clocked for the first time. And I'm very happy that we've become friends since that interview.
Mhm.
And you're always welcome on any of the reads that we have for Fifth Leg. You too, Nicole. And yeah, I just appreciate the time that you're granting independent filmmakers like myself.
Of course, I'm gonna polish my acting a little bit more, and we'll take another trip and table reads, and yeah, it's actually kind of fun, like trying to like get myself into more of an acting kind of mindset. So that's really helping me out. All right, we'll bring this to a close. Nicole, thanks for being on here, and Noah, thank you as well for chatting. I appreciate that we're in such different parts of the world and are able to come together and like still have this conversation.
Community. The key word is community. That's this. Yes.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.